Hello, how is everybody doing? Forza Milan, Forza Milan. Welcome to Milan News, guys. It is Monday, the beginning of a new week, and it is the Ketelaere week. We got Antonio with us today. What's up, Antonio? How you doing?
I'm doing great, Roy. How are you? Looks like it's going to be the start of a great transfer week, I think.
Yes. You think so this week?
Yeah, well, we're going to start off with one positive thing, which we're going to talk about first, but I think this is going to open up our mercato a little bit, so give us more time to focus on other players.
That is right. That is right. All right, guys. How is everybody doing in chat? We got Daniele, we got Cristo, we got Antonio, which is also on the stream. We got Christian. What's up, brother? We got Amnord Krunic, who is Lucas. We got Mohammed. Christian, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing? All right, so let's get straight into it. First thing we need to talk about is the Ketelaere. The Ketelaere should be arriving in Milano tonight, and he should be getting his medicals tomorrow. So starting by, let's say, I'm suspecting by Wednesday, we should start seeing him train with the team. And that's really what we want to see. We want to see those images of him training with the team. And the thing about the Ketelaere that we really want to find out is how is he going to be used in this team? Where will he fit? Obviously, he's going to play in one of the offensive positions. We know that. People are saying he's going to play on the right. Some people are going to be saying he's playing in the middle. Some people are going to say he's going to be the striker. So we're going to find this out. I have my ideas. We're going to look at his SOFA score, at his stat sheet, and kind of see what we can find out. Where do you think he's going to operate on the field, Antonio? What would you say?
So I think if I had to make a prediction, I would think it's most likely for him to play that like sort of number 10 role. But if Adli is to play or purely decides to, based on whoever's available or whatever tactical scheme he wants, we could see him either playing with Adli in that position, either putting the Ketelaere on the right wing potentially to see like if he can play there and provide more balance to the midfield from that position. Or we could try seeing him in the number 10 role with Adli playing potentially in the pivot or somewhere else. But I think Adli can also play in any of those positions. So I'm interested to see how they rotate with each other. On top of that, in some situations, let's say, worst come to worst, we have Giroud, something happens to Giroud, he gets injured. Origi's still not fully fit or whatever, and Ibra is not going to come back till the second half of the season probably. We could see De Ketelaere playing that center forward role, but it would kind of be unideal, I think, for Pioli because he wants more of a target man. Even though De Ketelaere is tall, I don't think he's the best at playing like that. But if we were to alter our playing style a bit, he could play center forward. But most likely, I would think that he can play in that number 10 role, but he doesn't really have any ideal position. So we have to see how Pioli plays him. But yeah, it's hard to predict that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of interchanging, and where he starts won't really matter. Because in his playing time in Bruges, he was moving around the pitch a lot. As a matter of fact, we're going to check out his heat map from last season, and you can notice that he pretty much covers the left side and the right side almost equally. So he's always roaming around the pitch. Quick thing about De Ketelaere, first of all, which is quite interesting. PSG was after him, according to a report that came today. And what convinced him to come to Milan was a call with Paolo Maldini. Okay, so according to this report that came out today, I believe it was in Calciomercato. I can't remember who the journalist was. So Leeds was after. We know Leicester was after De Ketelaere at a certain point. Leeds was after De Ketelaere at a certain point, but also PSG came out. Right? So here we see Maldini doing his magic, convincing players to come to Milan. Also, calls with Pioli were very important. So very interesting how Maldini has a lot of influence on the market, even when it comes against these big teams like PSG, if this report is true, which also will bring us to Sanches, and we will be talking about that. What's up, Andon? How you doing, my friend? Do you think if we continue to buy smart like we have so far and we don't lose key players, can we next year be a serious contender for the Champions League? Yes, I think so, absolutely. I think that the thing that we really have to look at, whether or not we're going to be contenders of the Champions League, is not so much who we are buying. It's, are we going to be able to keep our champions? Are we going to be able to renew Leao? Are we going to be able to renew Benacer? Are we going to be able to renew the players that are growing in the team, and once their contract is about to expire, are we going to bring that salary cap higher? Are we going to be competitive in the wage department? That is going to be the determining factor. So until we renew Leao, that's when we're going to find out, when we renew Leao. No reports regarding that. There was a report saying that they're going to talk about Leao this week, but I suspect that the Leao renewals won't happen until Redbird comes into play. Have you heard anything about renewals so far?
I've heard some rumors that about Benacer. We think we talked about him last time. We want to renew him, of course, and Leao is probably the main focus because Leao, like you said, we in our negotiations with Mendes did mention that we're potentially going to increase to 7 million, like our offer for him, I think, or 6 to 7 million, I think. And I think that's very close to what he's asking. So we're trying. I think there's some optimism there. Obviously, it's way too early to kind of discuss and say that it's a done deal. But I think that after September, after the Mercato ends, we're going to be trying to negotiate with him, and hopefully it actually goes through and doesn't drag out all the way to next year. But hopefully throughout the year, we see reports that it's pretty much agreed on. So that's what I'm expecting if everything goes to plan.
Yeah, that would be absolutely fantastic. Guys, if you have not, what are you waiting for? Smash that like button. Today's goal is, what is today's goal? Let's make it 100. 100 likes for today's goal, guys. Smash that like button. This is going to be a crazy week for AC Milan. The Ketelaere presentation, and then we're going to find out what is going to happen with Sanches. That is going to be very important. Well, if they don't resign contract, I'm thinking of Benacer and Leao. I think we should cash in them after the World Cup and invest those money in some other players. Yes, that's the other thing that Milan needs to do, which they haven't done well so far, is sell the players that don't want to renew. So hopefully we can monetize off of those players. We will win the Scudetto this year. That's right, DOA7. Correct. CDK could play as an attacking mid and switch to a striker later in the game if Ali comes on as a sub, or he might be considered as a striker to start just because Origi and Zlatan are injured. We're still yet to see what Origi will do. So, yeah, very interesting. All right, guys, let's check out De Ketelaere's stat sheet from last year. Here we go. So this is what he looked. This is basically what he looked like on the pitch, guys. As you can see, that heat map. So he covered a lot of the left side and the right side equally. Oddly enough, there's nothing in the middle, right? So if you look at the positions he played in Bruges, which is down here, so he played as a midfielder, attacking midfielder, right wing, striker, left wing. Essentially, what this is telling us that he can play in all 6 roles, essentially. He can play in the 2 double pivots. He can play in the left wing, attacking midfielder, right winger, and striker. So that is pretty impressive. He played 39 games total, started 37, minutes per game 83, so he was a starter. And he played most of all the games. He made Team of the Week 4 times. He scored 14 goals in the season. I think he was the top scorer of the team and 9 assists. Now, those are pretty good numbers there. You got to say, those are definitely good numbers. 23 goal contribution total. Plus, he had an assist in the Champions League. But this kind of gives us a good idea of what to expect. Accuracy per game, 72%. Accuracy own half, 82%. Accuracy opposition half, 66%. So center, that's more like the numbers of a center forward, which is usually in the 70% range, 71, 72, 73, or even in the 68. I think I remember seeing that Ibrahimovic actually has similar numbers when it comes to possession in opposition half. Yeah, successful dribbles, 54%, so that's pretty good. So he gets half of the dribbles that he attempts. Duels won, 52%. Those are good numbers. Ground duel ones, 52%. Aerial duels won, 53%. These are excellent numbers. Possession loss, 16.9. So the possession department definitely needs to improve for De Ketelaere. That's one thing that definitely needs to improve. All these numbers should be in the 80 to 90%. Especially when it comes to accuracy per game. 72% is a little bit low. We want it to be in the 80s. Own half, 82%. Some players, in the own half, it should be a little bit higher too. But anyway, his numbers, his output, and his work on the field looks pretty good. So it should be quite interesting to see how he's going to adapt to our system. And Antonio, I'm going to ask you, what are you expecting from De Ketelaere? How many goals? How many assists? What kind of impact is he going to have?
So I think if he got a total of like 20 goal contributions, 10 goals, 10 assists, or however you want to break that down, that would be an incredible season, especially because he's not really an all-and-out center forward. So I think that would be pretty impressive for his first year in a new country. But I think overall, we should expect, for the money we spend, he is more of someone that we have to develop, but he should be good enough to be ready-ish to play already. So I would think realistically, I would say it would be, fair to expect at least 15 goal contributions. And if he does less than 10, it's a little bit underwhelming, but 15 is a good number to for now to expect. But it is, we don't really know who was going to play in what areas of the pitch, so it's pretty early on to make these predictions. Also, I will say there is a little bit of an update that I did see and about him because we haven't really spoken about this, but he is going to arrive, or you did mention, I think, that he will arrive tonight in Milano, and I did see actually that his flight is scheduled to arrive at 11:30 at night Italy time. So that would be so depending on where you are in the world, for us, United States, for me that would be at around in another few hours. So I don't think we're going to see him yet on Twitter until then. So we were hoping that we could break the news on this live, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But expect to see it soon in the next few hours. De Ketelaere should be coming in, and there should be videos on Twitter about that.
Excellent, excellent. Can't wait to see that. Um, uh, so, guys, in chat, I want to know from you guys how many goals and assist contribution you guys are you think he's going to do this year, guys. Let me know what you guys think. I'm very curious to know what everybody's opinion is on this particular situation. I don't think we should put too much pressure on CDK. I think he will follow more or less similar path as Tonali. This year, 10, 15 goals, assists, and next year the number to be over 20 if he avoids injuries. Yes, now, there's a big difference between him and Tonali. That CDK is already coming into Milan with a lot of experience. Well, not a lot of experience, but over 100 games, professional games, but also games in the Champions League. So he is coming a little bit more forward in his experience when you compare him to Tonali or Leao and these other players. But I agree that putting too much pressure on this player and kind of making him into, the superstar of the team, the new Kaká, I don't think this is clever. I don't think that's what we should be doing. I think we should just allow him to, smooth into the team, easily without any crazy pressure. It is the team that Milan has paid for the most under this management, 35 million. So it's definitely going to be, quite interesting to see. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see De Ketelaere and what he will do for Milan. All right, I think he will have more assists than goals. I would say 7 to 8 goals and 12 assists. Damn, those are big numbers. Those are big numbers. Yeah, I guess we have to expect somewhere between 15 goal assist contribution. I think that should be a pretty good assessment. All right, so this brings me to the question about Renato Sanches. What is happening with Renato Sanches? The midfield.
So,
go ahead.
Like predicted by many, after De Ketelaere was kind of closed between Bruges and Milan a few days ago, more links have kind of opened up about the central midfield area and the center back department. In the central midfield area, we all know that Sanchez was one of the players that, from the beginning looked like he was going to come to Milan, but because of PSG, he's kind of been rethinking that, and he's trying to get more money, or he's trying to go to PSG, and Mendes is playing these games. But PSG haven't really actually made a serious bid still to Lille. So that's kind of a messy situation right there. And because of that, our interest has kind of really died down. But now it looks like we can have more attention, like the management can now focus on Sanchez a little bit more. And I have read some reports that Milan will meet with Mendes like in the next few days to discuss this again and to see what is going on with the situation, because it is very confusing. And I know Sanchez, it's most likely now that he's going to play in the pivot if we do bring him in. And I think there's a focus on creativity in the midfield as well as physicality, and his balance between those two things, playing in the pivot, is why we're looking at him. On top of that, Chukwuemeka is still like the number 2 option if possible. But he, right now, there's going to be a hefty transfer fee on him, and also his wages are pretty high. Like, he's requesting high wages. So that could be an option if we just negotiate down, but it looks like Sanchez is still the number 1 target, and it just depends on what he wants to do, because we have an agreement with Lille still. So that's the situation.
Yeah, guys, and in chat we have a poll about what you guys think about Sanchez and what should happen with Sanchez. I definitely agree that at this point Sanchez is for the double pivot, because it looks like Ali, as far as the games that I've seen so far, I'm starting to see a pattern with how Pioli is using Ali, and it looks like Ali is going to be seen as a player that belongs to that attacking midfield line. Which makes me also think that if Ziyech is coming, he is coming here to play in the double pivot, and it's going to be that trio. I think the trio that the club is envisioning is Benacer, Tonali, Sanchez. But let's be honest, guys. I mean, even though we can be angry right now at Sanchez being wanting PSG over us or whatever, if you really think Benacer, Tonali, Sanchez, those are the three midfielders you're going forward with, man, those are some great names. That is a lot of quality in your midfield. That is a European level midfield. That is a midfield that I'm confident going into Europe and saying, yeah, this midfield is competitive enough to win big games in Europe. So in the end, if we do get Sanchez, I think at least me and a lot of people will forget about this whole saga in the Mercato. But I think we'll be very happy because with Sanchez we'll see some very good football in the midfield. A lot of quality football in the midfield. But guys, let's see what happens with Sanchez. Let's see what happens with Sanchez. Other players that have been linked was the Brazilian guy from Aston Villa. Those links have died down. Then we had Frattesi. We were talking about Frattesi a few days ago, but it doesn't think there was anything concrete there. The player that Antonio mentioned, Chukwuemeka, who looks very good, I gotta say. But he's 19. He's a young prospect. You know, he hasn't had that much experience at high-level football. So Chukwuemeka would be very similar to Tonali coming in, and then he would have to, adapt and build, from there. But I would say, Antonio, do you agree with me when I say if we get Sanchez, we have a great midfield or not?
Yeah, I think it would be amazing because we have Benacer and Tonali right now that could be the starting pivot players, but we need another option. Sanchez is different from both of those players. He has a lot of quality. He can come in if Benacer is injured. I think even if we played him and Benacer, we'd be fine, even though people would disagree with me and maybe that people would think that we're not the best defensively, but I think that it would work out well. I think having them plus all the attacking midfield options we have right now with CDK, Adli, and Brahim Diaz. I mean, the one thing we can say for sure is our attacking midfield position has improved exponentially. It is like the quality has just skyrocketed from last season to this season. Krunic is also still floating around in the ether. We don't know where he's going to play. Like, he can kind of fill in all these positions. So we have him, who actually, I mean, listen, I'm not saying this is going to happen. I think we're going to keep him, but right now it's looking like we could even afford to get rid of Krunic at this point because we've brought in so many other players. But I don't think that's going to happen at least until next season if we do. But yeah, he's still good to have. And on the right wing, like you said, we've improved. So I think in that midfield area, it's definitely top. And I don't see us getting much better than this if we bring in Sanchez. I think that's like definitely set that central area. So very good stuff for me.
Yeah. And I think Sanchez coming in, because, I mean, what you said is completely true. It starts to be an overflow of players at a certain point. The player that I think is eventually going to go out, if, let's say, a Sanchez does come in, I would say it is Bakayoko because of him not having found great, many minutes with Milan, and there's not a lot of confidence in the player right now. Maybe if Bakayoko goes out, Sanchez can come in. Krunic, I don't know if there's I think there is a market for Krunic, but I think Pioli really likes Krunic, and he likes the fact that Krunic is a locker room player that doesn't, he doesn't disrupt the locker room, and he's happy to play whenever he's asked to play. So the player I would say is Bakayoko that is probably going to leave. But then, you ask yourself, where's the muscle coming from? Does Sanchez bring muscle? Is Sanchez only quality? Does he have quantity? What do you think? Do you think Sanchez can bring that quantity, to the midfield? Can he bring the muscle to the midfield?
I think he can, and I think Benacer and Sanchez are both a little underrated in terms of their defending. So I think, yes, we know that Tonali is someone who tracks back. I think that those two players put in a good shift. They're good at tackling, especially Benacer. Sanchez's strength is very, very impressive. He was, he outmuscles a lot of players when he's on the ball. And I think that having him, he may have to learn how to prioritize a little bit, shielding that back four sometimes, going in that area, trying to block shots and doing some of the dirty work. He has to kind of tactically improve, but I think he definitely has the physical capabilities to do that. So that's just my own opinion. I think that we'll be fine without Tonali in some situations if we bring in Sanchez.
You're muted, Roy. Also, I just
Sorry.
want to say about the midfield, Adli. Just speaking about him for a bit. I was watching a lot of his old games. I know this is a little bit off topic from Sanchez, but well, I did see him play against Sanchez a little versus Bordeaux in Ligue 1. And oddly, the one thing that I kind of didn't really notice, I'm gonna admit, like I'm not like an expert or anything, but I didn't notice this while I was watching a lot of him before he came to Milan. Also, because I was focused on the season, I guess, because we just had an incredible season. But I didn't watch many of his whole games. But I'm watching them now with the friendlies and also like with Bordeaux. I'm looking back. This guy, his possession is like some of the best I've seen from a central midfielder. Like this guy doesn't lose the ball like much at all. I saw him play against Sanchez. Sanchez was pressing him hardcore, and he wasn't even moving a muscle. Like Ali was keeping the ball close, making those tight passes. So I think like one of the reasons, especially why we believed so much in Adli and why we're seeing this now is he's very calm on the ball, and especially in against teams that press, like in the Champions League in Europe. I think he's going to be so useful to kind of relieve that pressure because he gets the ball, he can make those tight passes, he doesn't get kind of scared. So even like when you saw us against Liverpool, especially the first game, like in Anfield, we were getting pressed out of our minds, and like Kessier, other midfielders, they didn't really know what to do. So I think Adli is going to be a really good tactical solution to this. I was just thinking about that. So a lot of optimism for Adli.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I love what I've seen from Adli, and I think he's also a very versatile player. The thing that I really like about how this team is being built is that there's a lot of versatility in all those positions there, from the midfield to the attacking midfield. Adli has turned out to be a great operation. Of course, we have seen the preseason. Okay, this is preseason. We have to see what he does during the season. And Ali, there's another conversation there about Ali. And guys, I'm going to go to chat in a second, but there's another conversation about there, Ali. Do we want to bring in another player that is going to take time away from Ali? That is a question that we're going to visit. Um, uh, Little story here. So Fabregas today said in 2016 he was very close to Milan, but he still doesn't know the reason why the move never materialized. Do you think we would have had a shorter banter area if a transfer happened? Fabregas, fantastic player, by the way, fantastic player. He had been linked to Milan for many years. Even during the Galliani era, he was linked to Milan, and he was a player that Milan has been trying to get for a long time. Would it have been a shorter banter area? I don't know. That's a good question. That era there, the problem with that era was not so much the players, this is my opinion, it was more the management and who was running the show. Everything was just discombobulated. There was
Roy,
no
breaking news. Breaking news.
breaking news. Let's do it. What is it?
Di Marzio just tweeted, literally just now. Calciomercato hashtag Serie A. AC Milan contatti con Mendes per Renato Sanches. Per la difesa l'obiettivo principale è Diallo. So just to translate, this is Di Marzio, one of the most reliable sources, has confirmed that today there were contacts with Mendes for Renato Sanches. So this is like when he tweets this, it means that Sanchez is looking like a real possibility, and this is true. And this article that I have on the screen right now is from yesterday that predicted that we would have contacts this week, and it looks like this article was correct because today contacts have been confirmed with Renato Sanches. So breaking news, this is looking like a very true possibility. So take it as you want, take him or leave him. I think Sanchez is the most likely midfielder right now today.
Okay, that's great. That is great. I gotta say, the reason why I say this is great because in the beginning, my number one target, or my number one dream target was Sanchez. Then the PSG thing, the quotas went down for him, at least the way I rated the player. But now it looks good. It looks good. Let's look at his stat sheet. Let's look at Renato Sanches' stat sheet. But regarding Fabregas, as I was saying, Fabregas is a fantastic player. He would have definitely raised the level of the squad for sure. Whether or not it would have made the banter shorter, I don't know. I think that the important thing that happened was Maldini becoming the skipper of the team, the DS, and
Roy,
that is really what turned everything. Yeah.
sorry, I just want to say I can share my opinion on that as well, but can I share the tweet first? So
Oh yeah,
everyone
go
can
ahead,
see
go ahead.
just
Let's do it.
before we get the
Let's watch it.
stats? Okay, awesome. Let me pull this up. So yeah, it's in Italian. Let me translate this real quick. Here we go. So interesting news. We see the confirmations today, just now, actually, just tweeted. And also, my opinion on Fabregas is I agree basically with what Roy said. It's not individual players. I don't think would have solved our problem unless we like restructured a whole entire team. But it's more of the management, the spending, and the overall like the coaching, and it's just a combination of that. So, but yeah, Sanchez, guys, really good news today.
Excellent, excellent. Guys, you can even ask questions in Italian. Se volete fare domande in italiano, possiamo pure parlare in italiano. Non è un problema. But as far as Sanchez, yeah, let's see what happens because it could go both ways. Remember, PSG right now is not in the best moments as far as their finances. They're getting hit with that financial fair play. Their operations are very delicate. They have a lot of players on that team with high wages, and it's very difficult to move players with high wages. So this situation could eventually favor Milan, and maybe we'll see what happens this week. This week can be the decisive week to see whether or not Sanchez comes to Milan. So yeah, let's definitely find out. Anyway, let's go to his stat sheet because I'm very curious to see what he looks like. So this is where the space he occupies, which is more of a double pivot role. If you guys remember when we were looking at Ketelaere's red was more on this side of the field, while here it is a little bit more balanced, both on opposition half and his own half. Played 25 games, started 20, 66 minutes per game, so not a great season as far as games. I know he was injured for quite a while. Scored 2 goals, 5 assists. Okay, so 7 goal contribution. Not bad for a double pivot. Let's see where he played. He played in defensive midfield role. He played as a midfielder. He plays as a right midfielder, and he played as an attacking midfielder. So let's see. Okay, accuracy per game, 85% accuracy per game. That's pretty good. Accuracy in own half, 93%. Those are very good numbers. So in his own half, he knows how to move the ball around. He knows how to slow down the tempo. He knows how to play with the defenders and the goalkeeper and keep that possession. Opposition half, 77%. Okay, those I would like to see a little bit more there from a player like him, but that is pretty good. 77%. Those are pretty good numbers. Long ball, 75% accuracy. That is pretty good. Chip passes 65%, crosses 31%. So pretty good numbers for a midfielder. Very good numbers. I gotta say, I was looking at Kessi's numbers. Kessi's possession numbers were very good, especially in opposition half. So check this out. Kessi's number here, this statistic right here, accuracy of passing in opposition half, Kessi had 85%. While Sanchez has 77%. One thing about Sanchez, though, is Sanchez is more vertical than Kessi. Therefore, you have more possibility of making mistakes. But pretty good numbers as far as on the ball. Successful dribbles, 70%. That's pretty good. 70% of his dribbles are successful. Total duels won, 49%, so 50% pretty much of duels. He wins 50% of the duels, loses 50% of the duels. Ground duels, 50%. Aerial duels, even though he's a pretty small guy, I think he's 5.9. Well, he's not that short, but that is 50%. Possession loss, 12.7. 6 yellow cards and one red card. So pretty good stats. 24 years old, valued at 32 million. We are going to, if we get him, we're going to pay him somewhere around 10 million to 15 million. So not bad, not bad.
Roy, in the chat, a lot of people are disapproving of Sanchez.
Well, I mean, yeah, I know that right now there's a lot of, let's say, people are not very satisfied with this name. But if we are to believe these reports, this is who Maldini wants. So at the end of the day, we don't make the decisions. We don't decide who is going to come to the club. They decide who is going to come to the club. And we can only just judge them. And, I'm trying to see the positives out of it. I'm sure the fact that he's been wanting to go to PSG definitely doesn't make him, the most liked player, target. But I think Sanchez will be a great addition to the midfield regardless. It doesn't really matter. Lotfi says he can do Tonali's job. Now, Isma, as I said, no one can do his job in Europe. Go see the graphs. Well, it's not about, who can do whose job. It's about having options, right? Because Tonali and Benacer can't play for 90 minutes every single game. Remember, we're going to be having, 2 games, a game every 3 days from now up until December. So we are going to need a lot of turnover. We're going to need Pobega. We're going to need Tonali. We're going to need Benacer. We're going to need Krunic. And we're going to need either Bakayoko or whoever of these players is going out, the player that is going to come in. We're going to need all our midfielders. So it doesn't matter if one can't do exactly what the other can do. So that's what it's all about.
Roy, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Like, we went from a very negative point in the Mercato earlier, and with us only bringing Origi. But if you tell me that we end up finalizing the Ketelaere, Sanchez, a center back, even though it's not Indica or whoever, we'll see. We'll talk about that. But those 3 players plus Origi in this Mercato, and Adli comes in playing the way he is, and then I give it at least an 8.5 or 8 Mercato, because we don't need too much, and we all agree. The only position that is a little questionable is the right wing, but the way Messias is playing, and people are going to say it's only preseason, which we're going to talk about as well, like, it makes me more confident. So I really rate this Mercato. Like, I can give it good ratings if we bring in Sanchez and our defenders. So
okay, if we bring Sanchez and Indica, then it's a 10 out of 10, a 20 out of 10. As far as quality goes, and also as far as the ages of the player, because these are all young players, they still have a lot to offer. These are players where their price can go higher. That's a good thing about the way we're doing business. This is the Gazidis model. We're all getting a lot of players that are still in an age where their price and value can go higher. So you can get Renato Sanches at 15 million, let him have a few good seasons at Milan. He wants to go to get a better contract at PSG. Sell him for 50 million. Sell him for 40 million. Sell him double the price. He's only 24. So his price can go only up from now. That value corresponds and correlates to your age, of course. So yeah.
Yeah, he should be turning 25 soon in August. But yeah, I think. But still, that's a good age. I think he's a bit younger than Kessier. So still, definitely a good player to bring in. I think that's basically enough of all the stuff about Sanchez that we know of. I just read Di Marzio's article in Italian about, he posted an article with this tweet, and all it really says is that there were contacts today, so it doesn't say that any progress was made, but Milan is trying to see what's going on with him. So there's that. Also, he talked about some other players like Gabbia and defender as well, so we can, if you want to move into the defense, we can do that, but it's up to you.
Yeah, what did you say about Gabbia? I'm very curious.
He just said that it looks like Gabbia, Sampdoria really, really want Gabbia with Gianpaolo, and that it's a very good option to basically bring him in. I can pull up his article here. Hopefully everything works out. Well, I have to share this. No, I'm just going to tell you because I don't want to. It's in Italian, so people won't understand it, but not everyone will. It looks like he said the strategy right now is to, I guess, sort of figure out what's up with Gabbia, because if another defender were to come in, then he would most likely be leaving, and it looks like because Gianpaolo with Sampdoria, they asked for him on loan because apparently Gianpaolo is saying that he's gonna have a pretty significant role if he comes in. Like, he won't just be on the bench for most of the games, so he can get game time at Sampdoria. On top of that, however, if he does leave, there is a possibility of 2 defenders coming in. And today, the most progress was made for Diallo because of from PSG. So there were the most strong links with him. So we can pull up an article about him as well if you're interested. Looking at that.
Yeah, I got it right here. I got the Diallo
Awesome.
right there. Okay, yeah, very interesting for Gabbia. I would like to see Gabbia play more because I think Gabbia really needs to get that experience. Also, he's a fantastic football player. He's a fantastic football player that deserves to play and deserves to grow. So if he can go to Sampdoria, kind of like a dry loan, that would be the best thing. Kind of like how we did with Daniel Maldini. If that can happen, that would be an excellent thing, but difficult. A few chats, guys. Let's go to chat a little bit. Let me see what you guys are saying. Sanchez is versatile. He became a champion with Magnan, so it'd be what the team needs. And Magnan obviously has made it shown on social media that he would appreciate Sanchez in the team. Lau and Magnan are also nudging Renato to join Milan. Exactly. Pobega for me will fit better. Now I am expecting a lot from Pobega. The club is expecting a lot from Pobega. As we said, the club is retouching his contract from 300k to 1 million, and they're extending the years on his contract to 2027, I believe. I remember reading. So the club believes in Pobega. We are going to be seeing Pobega. Pobega is going to be very important for the team. If we can buy Sanchez, Dijk, and Ziyech on loan with obligation to buy, then we can fix our squad for the next 2 to 3 years. If Giroud gives up after next year, we will only need a quality striker. Good points, good points. Pobega is the closest to Kessie in Milan. If he can keep up with the team's tactic and pressing, I see him playing in Tonali's place. I think if we will have a lack of muscle and Pobega can provide that muscle, I think we will be seeing a lot of Pobega for sure. For sure. No points in player values if we can't sell them. Yeah, you're right. We have to show the mercato that we can sell our players. We struggle to sell players like Samu, but lose Donnarumma and Kessie for free. Diaz ultimo anno che rimane al Milan, poi ritorna al Madrid. Se Diaz fa un anno come l'anno scorso, anche secondo me ritornerà al Real Madrid sicuramente. Why would Sanchez wait PSG for so long and go to Milan now that they have sold Wijnaldum and Guaya to buy him? We must assume that PSG has given him guarantees, otherwise he wouldn't have waited for them. Let's see how this develops. I mean, it's 50-50. Your assessment on the situation makes a lot of sense. It seems like he is more willing to go to PSG, but the more PSG waits, the easier it will be for us to get him. So it's the market can flip from one side to the other in a heartbeat. Skilled are still Pioli. No, Pioli in. Milan is good as it is. Maldini is doing a great job. The most important for me is to renew Leao, Isma, and Kalulu. Milan will buy players. That is not the problem, but you can't lose the champions free. 100% agree, and all of us agree with that. We have to renew Leao. We have to renew Benacer. We have to. Kalulu is pretty much, he's getting paid what Primavera players are getting paid almost. So. But I think Kalulu is going to be no problem. Leao and Ismael Benacer are going to be the two ones. In Italia dicono che Gabbia deve andare in prestito. Forse andrà alla Sampdoria con Giampaolo, il nostro amico Giampaolo. Speriamo che possa andare lì e giocare. Minuti nelle gambe. Okay, so... All right, let's talk a little bit about Diallo. What do you think about Diallo, Antonio? So what we know about Diallo is a player on the fringes of PSG. Repubblica says that he is our number one target. Diallo is 26, 27, I believe. I think I could be wrong about that. We'll check his SofaScore sheet card. But he's left-footed. He can play center back and he can play left back. Okay. While the other target, Tanganga, is center back. He's right-footed and he can play center back and right back. Anyway, Diallo, I've seen only highlights of this player. He looks good in the highlights. Obviously, we know highlights tell only a certain amount of the story. But for me, my preferred player target for you two, Antonio, would be Ndika. So it is what it is. But what do you think about Diallo? And guys, what do you think about Diallo in the chat? Let me know.
So I will say, Ndika, I agree. He's top target for me. and we don't have to talk about him anymore for a while because we've already gone crazy and said everything about him. Diallo is a player that I haven't really seen much of because when I usually watch PSG, he isn't playing. But I have seen him occasionally, and he looks to be a good target for many reasons. I guess he's a little bit older if we can get confirmation on his age, but and he's left-footed, so that's important because we need that sort of left center back, left-footed, player that can go into the left back position. Just because in case anything happens to Balotore with that backup position, if he's not, it's a bit shaky sometimes, so maybe we can have him there as an option. I have seen him play on the wing a lot when he has played, so I think he's comfortable playing that position, which is good. And yeah, I think he's a good option overall. Maybe a little bit more safe than Tanganga, just because Tanganga is more of a risk, and because he's left-footed, he makes more sense as to why we would look for him. So I think it would be a good operation. I can't really see any problems with it. Our scouting department must have seen something because if he is our top target right now over Tanganga, it looks like maybe his stats will back him up in some ways, or his one-on-one defending is good and he kind of fits into that role. So I think for me, I trust the management with defenders because we have the best defender of all time working in the management. So I'm pretty optimistic about this position. Even if we don't get Ndika, who's my favorite player in the defense, I still think that this guy would be a good option. So yeah, that's just my overall take. But I have to watch him more before I can be confident.
Yeah, 100%. Rome wasn't built in one night. We'll be back soon. Expect these players to hit their prime at 27, so come back in 2-3 years. If Milan keeps these players, they'll win an incredible amount of trophies. And I 100% agree with you. For me, the choice is Ndika or Tanganga because they are the players who most likely going to adapt in the team. Diallo feels already like a star, so it's a no for me. My choice would be Ndika, and maybe bring a Primavera player. I would honestly, guys. This is my opinion. I would stay away from Tanganga. Anything that has got to do with Paratici, I do not want to have anything to do with Paratici. Paratici is one of the biggest scammers in football, so I would stay away from Tanganga. Ndika seems like the best option. Of course, there's money involved there, but it is with Frankfurt where we do have still a deal with Hagwe. As I think they, if I'm correct, they have not paid for Hagwe yet. This is where the reports that I was reading, that they still need to pay for Hagwe. Therefore, we can use maybe half of that, or what they need to pay us for Hagwe, and then put in 10 million more and get Ndika. It's an option.
Roy,
go ahead. Yeah.
Just kind of like a little random piece of news, just if you're interested. Damsgaard of Sampdoria is going to Brentford in England. Damsgaard, who is Danish, had a really good Euros, but I think he was injured this season. He's going to the Premier League now, and Brentford is a team that, if you notice, have a lot of Danish players, I think, or have a good amount of Danish players, so they have that sort of connection. But yeah, it looks like that's going to be a done deal pretty much to the Premier League. So we lost another good young player in the city to England.
Wow. There you go. Keep Gabbia, play Krunic more. No need for Sanchez. He can keep the bench warm with Donnarumma PSG. For me, the choice is Renew and Lau Benacer. I generally don't care about having another midfielder. We have CDK. If Diallo comes, it means we're not getting Ndika because they would fill the same void. Yeah, I know, 100%. Let's check out Diallo's card here. Let's see what we can find out about him. If it is true that he is coming, let's see what to expect. So nationality Senegalese, 26 years old, valued at 23 million, left-footed, 6.2. So tall player, plays defensive. Center back and fullback. This is his heat map from the Ligue 1. Okay, as you can see, he only played 12 games, started in 10, 74-minute average per game. So obviously this is a fringe player that did not see much of the field. 0 goals, scoring frequency 0 minutes, so no statistics there. He did get 1 assist. Accuracy per game, pretty good here, 90%, That's pretty good. I remember seeing his highlights. He is very technical with the ball. So the more technical you are with the ball, the less you lose the ball, right? But also, he's played only 12 games, and therefore these stats could look inflated. Accuracy in own half, 93%. Accuracy in opposition half, 83%. So pretty good. Long balls, 56%. Chipped passes, 60%. Accuracy on the crosses for a fullback at 28%. Not great, but again, remember, he only played 12 games. Successful dribbles, 73%. That's very good. Total duels won, this is what we want to see, 62%. So he wins most of his duels, 60% over 50%. 67% of aerial duels won, possession loss 9.1. Only one yellow card. So a lot of positive signs from the stats and basically in what he achieved this season. Whether or not that will translate to AC Milan, we shall see. But again, only 12 games, so a lot of those numbers are inflated. But it does say that in those 12 games, he played well. He played well in those 12 games. So it is very interesting to see what will happen with the defender. Of course, yes, Antonio and we all agree Indica would be perfect. Indica left-footed, 6.4, super technical player, never gets injured. He would give a lot of our defenders a run for their money if he comes. All right, I think that's all we have as far as the defenders, midfielders, right? Is there anybody else that we're missing, Antonio?
Well, there's Tanganga, but like I said, there are, because of the possibility that we bring in both Diallo and Tanganga, that does exist. So basically, Tanganga, he is going to be a loan, so that's why it's more affordable, and we could actually bring in both. And Gabbia would definitely leave. Right now, it's uncertain if we bring in one of these defenders, if Gabbia will actually stay just and not play much, or if he won't go. So there is kind of that, mysterious, question, what is going to happen with Gabbia depending on who we bring in. And it's uncertain right now.
Yeah. Grazie Mauro, comunque potete fare pure le domande in italiano, non è un problema ragazzi, qua facciamo italiano, inglese, it's all the same. Diallo played at the highest level. The problem now is that if he comes, he will take, he will take Kalulu's spot, maybe, because Tomori will be moved to the right, and maybe Diallo, if he can produce guarantees, it is true he could possibly take time away from Kalulu.
Hey guys, the one thing about this though, there is a lot of concern from the Milan universe about players coming in and rivaling players for minutes, but I will say this, we, last season, a lot of us would agree that we needed to improve on our depth, especially for the Champions League, for the Coppa Italia, and for the league. Personally, I think that, yes, we have to, reward our players for this season, but we also, a little bit of healthy competition is good. And when you're going into these competitions, you need that sort of healthy rotation, and we need options. So I think that this is only going to help out if we bring in more players, and start filtering out the players. Unfortunately, like Castillejo, who didn't work out, even though he's a very good person and is a decent player, but just didn't really work out with us. Players like that who we can kind of start cutting off. So that's why I think we need to. That's how we should be approaching this overall. So don't be afraid of competition.
Yeah, no, I agree. And also, guys, let's just remember that there's so many games, and we've seen how many players get injured in these past years with Milan. So the rotation is going to be, it's important to have depth. And the big difference between the European clubs that play in the Champions League and the Italian clubs is that the European clubs have a bench that is just as good as the first team. So the more quality players we have, the more depth we have, the more competitive we're going to be in Italy, but most importantly in Europe, because we forget that this is the year we have to go through that group stages. There's no excuses. If we don't go through the group stages this year, this season will be a failure, guys. This season will be a failure. So it is imperative that we go through the group stages, and at this point we can't be worrying, well, this player won't get time, that player won't get time. We have to think about the team. The team needs to win. So the more players you have, the better options you have. These are not problems for Pioli. These are solutions for Pioli. So very different. So yeah, I definitely agree with you. I 100% agree with you there. Antonio. If we can buy Ndika for 15 million now, then we won't be able to buy him ever. After his value will skyrocket. I 100% agree with you, Sub Hadib. I 100% agree with you. This is the time to get Ndika. There's going to be no other time. It's the train is coming by right now. If you lose the Ndika train, you will never get him ever again. So I really hope we can land him. How can someone not make it as a defender in Milan while having Baresi as a president and Maldini as a sporting director? Yeah, true. I'd rather spend the money on the right winger spot, try and get Ziyech, than use the left over money in a cheap centre back option. We bought Kalulu for 500k. We can definitely find a quality player for cheap. That is a good conversation to have about Ziyech, and we will have that conversation. I think Ziyech will be the last player we talk about. Then we're going to talk about Ronaldo il fenomeno, what he said, and we're going to see. Alright, let's see a few more chats. In Italia danno il Milan al quarto posto come l'anno scorso, ci davano al quinto posto e poi abbiamo vinto lo scudetto. Guarda, è meglio così perché così non sanno quanto siamo forti, eccetera. Daranno sempre Milan a questo posto, Milan ha una squadra giovane, normale, stanno dimostrando anno dopo anno. Comunque è meglio così. Che lo diano alla Juve, all'Inter, noi facciamo il nostro campionato e alla fine meno pressione per noi. All right, Antonio, let's spend a few words on Ziyech. So where does Ziyech fit now? Because if Ziyech is coming, that means someone is leaving. Right now, there's no indication of anybody leaving. Messias is having a great preseason. Maybe one of the best players in our preseason, right? Messias is kicking ass. I think he's scored 3 goals. He's got a few assists. Should we sacrifice Messias at this point? Are we going to sacrifice Salamakers? There's no indication that Salamakers is leaving. Are we going to have Ziyech, Messias, Salamakers, Brahim Diaz, CDK, Ali, Rebic, Leao for 3 positions?
So you bring up a really good point. From what I've read today, it sounds like that if Ziyech comes, it means that another player is leaving, and I think that only happens if we get an offer for one of our right wingers, most likely, or even our number 10s, which would be, or unless Diaz ends his loan early, basically, because we're not selling to Ketelaere and Adli, obviously, it's their first season. So if Diaz ends his loan early, or we sell Salamakers, most likely, because I don't think Messias, he just renewed, so I don't think we're going to sell him, then we would bring in Ziyech. But right now, I don't think Ziyech is coming because we don't have room, like you said, even though personally, I'm very optimistic. I would say just bring in as many good players as you can. But realistically, it's not going to happen, and we're going to probably just invest our funds into other players, other positions, because we are very well covered in that area. And Ziyech wouldn't necessarily play that much, and it would be difficult with him, Messias, and Salamakers in that position. Also, we are with a 4-2-3-1, so it looks like it could be a problem tactically if he does play as more of an attacking player. We don't know what his defensive contribution would be, even though I think he'd be fine, but there are some concerns with that. So I think overall, it's very likely that he doesn't come, more likely that he doesn't come than he does at this point, much more likely, and we're just, unless something happens that kind of changes the depth, I don't think he's coming in.
Yeah, there were the rumors. A few days ago, were very strong. There was one thing in particular that made me think that Ziyech was a reality. The fact that Ziyech had accepted to lower his wage demands. So the fact that he's making 5.2, he won't be able to make that at Milan. If he comes to Milan, he has to bring it down. So he has to choose to do that first. But let's say he does come to Milan. One thing that I find very interesting if Ziyech does come to Milan is that we can actually really play a 4-3-3 if Ziyech does come to Milan. Rather, we can really transform the team as a 4-3-3 in its approach. Because when you have a Leao on the left, a Giroud in the middle, a Ziyech on the right, that is a perfect 4-3-3 system. So it'll give you another option that right now we don't have. Messias is not really an attacking striker, right wing striker. He is more of a right midfielder, attacking right midfielder. A little bit different from what Ziyech can offer. So it is very interesting to see what happens with Ziyech. Ziyech is a player that a lot of Milan fans will love. He brings a lot of quality, a lot of experience. But yeah, Antonio, I agree with you right now. It looks difficult that he will be arriving. And to be honest with you, the question is, do we need Ziyech? Do we need Ziyech? Is this team good enough at least to get up until January? Because there's another transfer market in January. Maybe we can get Ziyech in January, right? Where he will probably, it'll be probably easier to get Ziyech. So the question is, do we need Ziyech from August 13, when the season starts, up until the season ends, and then January, when the transfer market happens again? Will we need him then? Yeah, I agree with you, Antonio. Right now, I don't see him coming, but it is what it is. It is what it is. What do you think about that? Do you think our team is good enough right now to go up until January? Go through and guys, let me know what you think in chat too. Is our team right now good enough to be on top of the Serie A, at least be there in the first positions, and pass the group stages of the Champions League up until January? That is the question. What do you think, Antonio, and chat? What do you guys think? Are you there, Antonio?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was muted. I forgot. I think with the current team we have right now, without any major injuries, but we'll see some injuries. But overall, we have the depth. I think, especially I think we are going to bring in a central midfielder and a center back. But so with that being said, if we bring in those positions, I think we definitely have the depth we need, because let's look at position by position. Center forward, you have Giroud, Origi when he comes back. The Ketelaere can also fill that role, and Ibra, that's the second half of the season, but we have some players. Left wing, Rebic Leao. Center attacking midfielder, we have Adli, Diaz, and De Ketelaere. Right wing, Messias, Salamakers, and De Ketelaere. Center midfielders, we have Pobega on the fringes. We'll see what happens with him. We have Benacer, Tonali, potentially another midfielder that comes in, and even still Bakayoko could be leaving. And then goalkeepers, of course, we have the best goalkeeper in the world. Right backs, we're good. So many players. Center backs, we're going to bring one in. We're good. Left backs, we're good. So I think our depth, like we have at least 2 players in every position, maybe even 3 in some positions. So we're starting to look like a very complete team. So I think that we technically should have enough to complete the season if some positions that were, for example, like the left wing with Rebic and Leao, if one of them gets hurt, then we only have one player in that position. So it could get complicated with an injury. So that's the problem, I think, is just, can we stay fit? And in that case, then yes, we need to bring in someone in January if someone does lose their fitness. But right now, I'm confident that we have a good, deep team and that we can be more competitive. That's why I'm more optimistic about the UCL in general. And as we finish the stream and talk about the Marseille game later on, I do want to talk about the general, like, my views on Milan right now. But yeah, that looks like I'm pretty positive.
All right, good. Okay, let's go to chat. Let's talk about the Marseille game and what. Well, actually, since we're talking about what Milan can do with the team they have already, let's also talk a little bit about Ronaldo, what he said, and then let's finish on the Marseille game. So let me go to chat first. Ho letto un articolo: se CR7 va via dal Manchester vanno a comprare Leao. Io non ci credo ai giornali. Per me è molto difficile comprare Leao, almeno che mettono giù i soldini. E se mettono i soldini, secondo me vale la pena. If we are serious about the UCL, then we need Ziyech. We can't rely on Salamakers or Messias, even though he's playing very well at the moment. The balance of Leao and Ziyech on either side will be perfect. As I said, is Ziyech? Do we need Ziyech to pass the group stages? I think we will need Ziyech to win in the in and out games. A player like that, yes. But let's see what happens. What time will CDK arrive at Milano? I think he should be arriving 19, which is what? What is 19?
I read 23:30, which is in Italy 11, time, which is 11:30.
11:30.
But that would be 6 hours ahead for me. So subtract 6 hours, and then let me do the math. I'll get back to it.
Dicono tanto di merda, ho imparato ad aspettare sempre i comunicati delle squadre prima di credere una cosa o un'altra. Sì, è vero, alla fine devi stare molto attento a quello che leggi e poi si vede. 150 milioni lo impacchettiamo, lo impacchetto personalmente io. Yeah, with 150 million, guys, if you sell one of our players for 150 million and you reinvest that in the market, you can make a lot of money.
Roy, the latest that would be in like a little over 3 hours, like 3.5 hours maybe, if that is really the latest. But he could come earlier, so that just expect it to be potentially even more hours ahead.
Ziyech isn't really needed, but he will be an upgrade. We have to say that. Yeah, for sure. Hey, what's up, Rohit? No, we are going to do open live either tomorrow or Wednesday. Vorrei farti una domanda. Se Milan vende Leao per 150 milioni a Manchester, noi prendiamo CR7, faresti questo affare? Wow. Good question. So basically he's asking, would you replace Leao for Cristiano Ronaldo? No. No, I think not. I think with Cristiano Ronaldo, his value is just going to keep on going down. You're going to sell a lot of shirts. You're going to get a lot of eyes. It's very good for marketing. But as far as tactical value, you're losing because Leao is, 22, 23. So we need to milk the most that we can from Leao right now.
I will say if we get a cash offer plus CR7, like if we get like 70 million or 80 million plus CR7, I think I would do it. Just because we could bring in a player that we could, because if we did that and replaced Leao with that cash, we could win. I think we could. I would say that we could win the UCL this season because Ronaldo can score against any team, and he also still moves around a lot, like more than our current strikers do. Maybe not Origi, but he's in a little bit. He's better. He's more fit. I guess he's a little bit more mobile than Giroud is, and he has that technical ability. So I think that with him and another left winger, we could still win the Champions League this season. But that's just me. But yeah, overall, keep Leao.
Gotcha.
Fine.
Gotcha. All right, guys, let's talk about this. Ronaldo snubs Milan in Scudetto prediction. I don't see this Milan as favorites. So he says, it will be a good fight between Inter and Juve. I don't see this Milan as favorite, even if whoever wins the Scudetto can never be considered out of the race, he said. Inter could have already won last year. Juve cannot afford another bad year. Milan will have a base made out of players and a game and an idea, right? Then he said something about Ibrahimovic. He said, Ibra is a gift that Milan can give themselves at a certain point of the season, but I think the first to be curious to see how he will return. When I fought with the knee every now and then, I ask myself, what will it be like to come back? Okay, so very poorly translated, I gotta say, first of all. So whoever translated that did a very bad job. But what do you think? Juventus Inter favorites, Milan the dark horse?
Like you said before, I'm happy that we're the dark horse. People, I think, I don't know, because last season I was very much a person who said, I think Inter have the better team than us, which I think was true last season. And that's why I put them as first and I put us second in the predictions. But this season, yes, I know Juventus and Inter have brought in some players. They've shuffled around a little bit. Inter lost Perisic, for example. This season I'm even more confident in Milan's abilities personally. Like you said before, I'm very happy, and it's a good thing. You said this in Italian. It's a good thing that we are underrated because I think it's less pressure. And there's always going to be that pressure on Juventus because they've won the most leagues and everything. But for me, if you're asking me what I think about Milan compared to other teams, yes, Inter has Lukaku. We have to see how he does. They have some players like Brozovic and Barella that are very, very good. Like they have a couple players that have proven their qualities. With us, though, I think we've backed Pioli now. We're going deeper and deeper into our project. We're developing players. Like the development, I was surprised because last season in the summer, our development was very good with Tonali and Leao. This season, in the summer, even Messias, who's older, and some other players, they look to be even better. And we're playing much more fluid, it looks like, even though it's just preseason. Except for the first 30 minutes of the Hungarian game. Besides that, we look to be very good. But overall, I think we're like developing on a pretty steady course, and it looks like because of that, we're getting so much better, like exponentially better. And on top of that, we're bringing a couple of players like Ketelaere, who's young, but he also can bring a lot more quality with us. We've brought in Adli, and we're looking to bring in more players. So I think we don't need to spend like these other teams. We don't need to get these flashy players because our project is what wins us leagues. It's not the individual players. I think so. Individual players can help us collectively, but the most important thing is to bring in players that fit our system, that fit Pioli's system. So that's why people don't give us like a lot of hype, but I think that's more important than individual quality. So that's why I think I'm excited and optimistic. And I'm not going to reveal my predictions until we do the prediction video, but stay tuned for that. But I'm pretty optimistic.
Yes, good answer, Vera. Hey guys, if you have not already, smash that like button, guys. What are you waiting for? Smash that like button. Let's get to 100 before we close today. Let's do it for AC Milan, our beloved squad, the #1 squad in the world. So if you haven't already, smash that like button, and remember, you can become a member of the channel. All you got to do is click on the link in the pin of the chat, and you can become a member of the channel where you get special perks, and you're going to participate in competitions that will be designed specifically for the members. Now, my answer to this is let Inter and Juve be the favorites. Let everybody think that Milan is going to finish 5th. Let everybody think that Milan is going to finish 6th. This is only going to be better for us, okay? Because it takes the pressure off. Allegri has made I don't know if he's made a mistake or he has to do it. Allegri, in his conference, has said that Juventus has the obligation to win the Scudetto. Juventus is the favorite to win the Scudetto. So he put a lot of pressure on himself. Let it be. Put that pressure on the players. Our team is about the project, it's about the system, it's about the growth of these players, but our team is a family. So the way I see it is we might necessarily not have the best roster, but we have the best team. Okay? So there's a difference between the word roster and the word team. Two different things. And I think Milan today is still the best team in Italy. Not necessarily the best roster, but the best team in Italy. And that is going to make us competitive until the end. I can't tell you if Milan is going to win the Scudetto, but what I can tell you for sure is that Milan is going to fight for the Scudetto up until the last day. They're not going to let go. They're going to fight up until the last day.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
All right, let's do one more chat, a few more chats, and then let's close on Marseille Milan. We'll see about that. For me, Milan needs to reduce injuries. Yeah, true, and be aware of referees. Yeah, referees are definitely have punished us last year for sure. Yeah.
One point about Allegri, I just remembered. I was thinking this before when you were speaking. I think Juventus, like I see why Allegri did this, because any like big club, like if you go to like let's say like Barcelona, Real Madrid, Bayern, or even like City or Liverpool, who have been successful in recent years, and you ask them like, what do you guys have to do this season? They're going to say, we have to win the league, we have to be competitive. And I know it's different, for example, because Bayern wins every year, but Juventus hasn't the past 2 years. But any big club like that, has this sort of reputation is going to say that. And Milan is in a position where we're very different. Like, I'm not saying we're not a big club, we are, but it's the way that we're currently being run, like sort of sustainable model. So I think that's why we're not coming out and saying that. And because our expectations are kind of humbled a little bit by our transfer abilities. And I think that's a good thing, because we're prioritizing other things that are more sustainable. And that's why it's different for us. But in the future, maybe, listen, I still have this belief. I hope that we can make that next step and spend a little bit more to win the UCL. But let's see if we do really well this season and we go really far or go farther, then I'm going to have to, be quiet and wait and see if every year we keep improving and see what happens. But we'll see. I'm still optimistic.
Yeah, absolutely. Mauro, grazie mille della vostra compagnia, siete stati molto gentili. Questa è una bellissima live, devo andare a lavorare sempre. Forza Milan, ciao a tutti. Grazie mille Mauro per la tua compagnia. Say welcome here all the time. Okay, let's look at some more chats and then let's finish off with Milan Marseille. For the second year in a row, we're going to be the only top team starting the season with a solid system that we're used to, with more strong players that are functional to our game. That is also a good point. That is also a good point. And it goes to the fact that that's why I'm saying we are the best team, meaning we are the team that has been built the best. We are the team that has players that are functional to the system. We're not interested in marquee signings that are going to come and save our ass. Kind of like how Inter is going to put all their eggs in the Lukaku basket. Juve is going to put all their eggs in the Di Maria basket. Milan is more about the system, the team. So big difference there. Okay, don't forget the CL. Yeah, the CL is going to be important. Let's see what happens. Our expectations is top 4 from our organization, spending less in market and get a top 4. Fine. Let's let it be top 4. But within that expectation, we are going to be fighting for the Scudetto until the end. All right, guys, if you haven't already, smash that like button. We only have we have less than 20 likes to go to hit the 100 quota today. So smash that like button. Let's talk a little bit about Milan Marseille, guys, and what we learned about Milan Marseille. So I want you to start, Antonio. You saw the game, right?
Yes, of course.
Tell me what you thought about the team, about the players, what you thought about what's going on with Milan right now. Go ahead.
So, yeah, over the course of the game, there was one point in the second half where we started making like a bunch of changes and we like flipped over like almost the whole team. In the first half, like we started off like, giving Marseille, some possession, and it was a little bit like back and forth. Then at like towards like the 10-15 minute mark, we started taking over, I think. And the first goal scored by Messias, like that's a quality goal. I mean, he took a dribble and then finished it with his left foot. He cut inside, finished it, curled it over the keeper, and it was just a beautiful goal. Like, so that was like really amazing because it proved to me that Messias can score those goals. One second. Sorry about that. I had to cut off for a second. But it proved to me that he can score those goals and he could be that attacking player that we need in the right wing. So him and Salamakers can kind of both cover that position, I think, this season, if we don't bring in Ziyech. Allegri. But yeah, so I think he was a very positive player. He also got a beautiful assist, and his dribble, the way he controlled the ball on the second goal with his chest, that was some top quality stuff. Like that's some Brazilian control right there. He shouldered it forward, you kept his speed and then cut it back, and the defending was pretty poor, I would say, from Marseille because you have to cover Giroud there. But Giroud, once again, he's reaffirmed himself as a quality striker, and he's going to be, hopefully, if he stays healthy, a really important player as our starting striker this season. So, obviously, our attack looked very good. Rebic put in a good shift, I would say. Nothing amazing, but he was definitely there in some chances. Theo had an amazing game, a lot of good runs. And Marseille's team had a couple of really good players, so it's not like we're playing against like their B team. Like they had a solid team. Like their best player Payet was there. They had Guendouzi in the midfield. They had Klaus, who was basically recently got some caps for France. I think at right back or left back. I forget what side. But yeah, so they were a solid team, but defensively we attacked them. And they looked a little weak, but. Overall, Theo, Messias, great games. Giroud stepped up first half. Tomori and Kalulu were monsters. They were pressing like crazy. They weren't letting them have any space, winning the balls. Magnan didn't really have much to do, honestly. Calabria had some really good forward passes, so he looked good. I'm still curious to see how he does against pacey left wingers, but overall, yesterday he was tactically perfect, I think. And then second half, we got these substitutions. We had a lot of chances that we didn't score, and Marseille had a couple of chances, but overall we defended very well and we dominated the rest of the game, even though we didn't score again. Leao came in; he had a couple of chances. I wish he had scored some of those because he was in good positions. Florenzi gave him a very nice pass a couple of times, so he did. He was looking very good as well. and overall, just a positive game in a stadium that can be a little bit difficult to play in. Marseille fans are known for being a little bit crazy sometimes in recent years, so they're very passionate, and it was a pretty packed stadium. We did well overall as a team, and we look like we're very fit. So the Serie A is starting we have one more preseason this weekend, and then the Serie A starts I think next weekend for us. So we have like 2 weeks or less than 2 weeks until we play our first game against Udinese, who are always a difficult team for us. So our fitness looks very good, and the way we're moving around collectively and playing, like vertically especially, if we're going straight and we're not wasting a lot of time in our attacks, that gives me a lot of optimism for the season to start. So hopefully we can keep on improving, get the Ketelaere situated this week. He should play this Saturday because he only has one friendly left before potentially starting, or maybe he'll start on the bench. We'll see. But he should get some minutes. This friendly against Vicenza, this should be more of like a laid back, domestic friendly that should just be mainly for fitness purposes. So, and it's not really as stressful as, not even stressful, but as intense as playing against foreign teams that like Marseille, for example, who will be in the Champions League this year. So playing against those types of teams is a little bit more difficult because you're traveling away in their stadium and playing against other top quality players and in their teams. But I think against Vicenza, it's going to be sort of, a little bit of like mainly for fitness, like I said, and it won't be as intense. We should win that very comfortably. So that's going to be a perfect game for CDK to get a little fit and see where he can fall for the first game. But overall, Marseille was a very, very good display for me, and it has reaffirmed my confidence. And yeah, this is a very good preseason so far, besides the first 30 minutes of the game against the Hungarian team. But other than that, we look to be a very, very good team that's continuing their development. Also, Adli, quick shout out to him, second half. Overall, very good performance. He doesn't lose the ball much. Like every game, he keeps it well, moves it, one-touch passes sometimes. So he is looking very comfortable in that midfield area. So he could play a significant role in the first Serie A game if he, based on what we've seen so far. Unfortunately, Pobega hasn't been playing because I think he's a little bit injured. So I'm concerned for Pobega because we do need him based on our depth situation in the pivots right now. So I'm curious to see what happens with him and if he can play this weekend. So that's just what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, no, nice. Agreed with pretty much everything you said there. Pobega unfortunately is going to start a little bit late. This injury that he got, it's definitely going to, he's definitely not going to be in the starting 11 anytime soon. I think going into the season, we're going to see Tonali Benacer as your starting double pivot, and Krunic and Bakayoko, the two alternative players. I don't know if CDK is going to become a starter right away because he doesn't have much time to prepare until we need to, because we're playing against Udinese. Against Udinese, we have to score points. We have to get points. It's not a game where you can do experiments. It's a game that you got to get points. So, thinking about it, I don't see CDK starting in the starting lineup right away. I don't know. Maybe he will, but I'm starting to suspect that maybe there's going to take a little bit of time before he can get, ingrained into the system of a team and given that important role. So we'll see what happens with the CDK. But yeah, I think you said everything. You said everything. And you said everything that I was going to say too. So there it is. Yeah, I'll give the man of the match to what's his name? To Messias, a goal, assist. Messias having a great preseason. There are some people saying that Messias is going to. Actually, your dad was saying that Messias can hit 15 goals and assists. If he continues to play like this, yes, why not? Why not? And if he does become a player that gives you 16 goals between assists and goals, then we don't need another player in that position because he's giving you those numbers that you would need for that position. But really fast, Florenzi had an incredible ball to Leao. That's what I remember. But also Calabria. had an incredible ball to Messias on the goal. When Messias brought down that ball on his chest, perfect play from Messias, incredible play. That was a Calabria long ball from the defense, and it was perfect. It was perfect. So both the right backs giving us a lot of quality in the preseason. On the other side, Leao, train as always. Theo Hernandez, a train as always. But we don't have the same amount of quality coming in from the bench. So there's a little bit of disparity, imbalance, as far as the quality that we can have on the right, as far as the subs, and the quality that we can have on the left as far as subs. Even though Balotore does have an assist for Gabbia in one of the preseasons. My only concern right now is that we have played fairly easy games, so the team has not been pushed incredibly hard. If I look at the other teams, Inter has had similar level games, but Inter has been struggling in this preseason, struggling quite a lot actually, against the French teams especially. Juventus has been playing some very high intensity level games, so I'm thinking they're going to come into the season a little bit fitter than everybody else. But Milan looked good against a Champions League team, a team that we might face in the Champions League because it's a pot 4 team. They're going to be in part 4, so we might face Marseille again. So overall, great signals from the team. Very happy. Let's see what they do against Vicenza, and hopefully we're going to kick ass in the Scudetto, which starts 13th of August.
Yep, very exciting. Should be some good content on the channel coming up for the beginning of the season as well. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're going to do a lot of course, we do post-match. We'll do watch-alongs, and we do a whole bunch of stuff. All right, guys, let's see where we're at with the likes. Where are we at with the likes?
94.
Guys, 6 more likes, guys. 6 more likes, and we have reached our 100 like quota for the day. Guys, let me know what you guys think in the chat about Milan going in against Udinese. Is Milan going to be ready physically? Also, Theo Hernandez was interviewed, and he said that this time around he feels better than last preseason, and the trainings have been doing very well. They have been really allowed him to get much fitter. So it looks like Pioli and the guys and the coaches and the trainers are doing a very good job.
Yep, and Roy, we've hit 100 likes. We're at 101 likes right now. So,
beautiful. Guys, thank you very much. Thank you very much from all the Milanisti all around the world. We need a bully in the midfield for the tough matches. Once Ronaldo is injured, Milan's mid will collapse with the current set of players. Yeah. Guys, let's see what happens with Renato Sanches this week. We're going to be following the Renato Sanches ordeal this week. We will find out whether Renato Sanches goes to Milan or PSG this week. Guys, fingers crossed for Ndika. Fingers crossed for Ndika. If we land Ndika, 10 out of 10 market. Let's see what happens with Ziyech. At this point, the rumors are dying down. I don't know what to believe anymore. But we do have Ketelaere coming in. So far the market has been Mirante, confirming Florenzi, Messias, then Adli from last season. Now he's in the team. So far, excellent signing. Pobega had a great season with Torino. Let's see what he does with Milan, and CDK. So this has been our market so far. And Origi, which we have not seen yet. So those are 7 players that Milan worked on this transfer market in order to secure for the team, that are officially AC Milan players. No loans, nothing like that. These are all AC Milan players. All 7 of these players belong to AC Milan at this current moment. So in honest truth, the market has been pretty busy, right?
Yeah, especially if we close these players, though. We still have to close them. But if we get to Ketelaere, a central midfielder, hopefully Sanches, and a center back, hopefully Ndika, I mean, that's like, then all of our complaints and worries are really for nothing this whole time. Yeah. That's a perfect thing.
True. And guys, and remember, I have so much confidence in this team. So even if we don't get Ziyech or we don't get Sanches or whatever, this team is still good enough to fight until January. So let's see what happens. All right, guys, I think that is it. Everybody, thank you very much. Anything else you want to add, Antonio?
I will say there's been a lot of interesting friendlies this summer. I've been watching other teams. Roma, for example, beat Tottenham 1-0. I've seen those friendlies, and it's been interesting to kind of follow along
with Europe and Italy specifically. And I think it's going to be a very interesting season up ahead. And stay tuned to kind of see how some of the teams in Italy perform in Europe and also domestically. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the Serie A.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. This is our Juventino friend that comes and joins us every once in a while. He says Pogba SMS. Well, SMS
Oh my God.
is
Milinkovic Savic, yeah.
Yeah, but it's still a rumor. So Pogba, Locatelli, McKennie, Zaccaria, Miretti, Fagioli, Rovella, Rabiot, but also Rabiot is being linked out of Juve. Is the best midfield in Europe? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's the best.
Get it. That's insane. That's come on.
I think the best midfield in Europe is still to this day Real Madrid. They have the best midfield, and a lot of teams need to get to that level. Modric, Cruz, Tony, and the Tramini, Camavinga, and all these other players. That's the team that has the most quality experience in Europe.
I will say this: if Juventus get Milinkovic Savic, I'm gonna be pretty pissed off though, because this guy. Because they literally get all the best players in Italy. Like, this guy's been good for so many years, and just because Lazio have a high asking price, no one's been able to go and get him. If Juventus is the team that does it, man, it's good for them. But this guy's he's a great player. So it's just sad to see Juventus always getting the best players in Italy.
Yeah,
but whatever.
By the way, Christian, what's up? Salad and CDK played against Laert, guys, is on holiday, so the war streams are going to have to wait until Laert comes back. So you have to be patient for the war streams. All right, guys, but listen, I think Milan has but honestly, if we have Tonali, Bennacer, and Sanches, that is our three main midfielders. I mean, we're talking about one of the best midfielders in Europe. Not the best, but you can start to talk about the conversation, one of the best in Europe. Let's see if that happens. It has to happen first. All right, guys, having said that, I appreciate everybody. Thank you for your company today, guys. We will be following the Milan news on a daily. We'll see what happens in these next upcoming days. There's going to be an open live either on Tuesday or Wednesday. Then we're going to follow the Milan game against Vicenza. Guys, if you have not, smash that like button, subscribe, join, become a member of the channel, and do all of that. Guys, everybody, thank you. Forza Milan, and we shall see you in the next live. Arrivederci.
Ciao a tutti.